Hello, NFL fans. This is Crow for SportsCrapology.com, coming to you from our offices in Knoxville, Tennessee, where it is bright and sunny today, and I believe it's in the 60s. Yeah, it's almost 70 outside. It's actually warm. Anyway, we're going to talk to you about the 2025 NFL Draft. It happens in Green Bay, April 24th to 26th. I need these glasses to read my laptop here. Let me put that down a little bit, so it's not in front of my beautiful face. And if you think this face is beautiful, you probably need to see your optometrist or ophthalmologist right away. Anyway, we're going to talk about NFL 2025 Draft, wide receivers. We got a whole list of them, how we rate them. There's about 70 wide receivers in the draft. Some of them at the end had no catches for no yardage, no touchdowns, but they're in the draft. Some are in the draft, but they don't block. They can't read zone coverages but anyway, they're in the draft anyway, seeing if they get a shot in the NFL. So we're just going to go down the list. We're going to give you 32 wide receivers, one wide receiver for each team, plus a couple. Like I said, I got to have my glasses on to do this, so I got to put these down. So number one, we have McMillan out of Arizona, big receiver. He's 6'4", 220. He's got all the tools. He's got some speed. Number one receiver. Number two, we have Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State, 6'1", 202. Not a lot of other people have him ranked up that high, but Ohio State's put out many, many, many good wide receivers, and I think this guy was one of the best in the country. Maybe the best receiver in the country last year, who knows. Three, we have Matthew Golden out of the University of Texas. He's 5'11", 190. Number four, we have Trey Harris out of Ole Miss, 6'2", 205. Number five, we have Luther Burden III out of Missouri, 6', 205. Number six, we have Isaiah Bond out of Texas, 5'11", 180. Number seven, we have Jaden Higgins, one of the big Iowa State receivers. He's 6'4", 215. Both Iowa State receivers were very good last year. Number eight, this might be a little bit of a surprise to some people, Pat Bryant out of Illinois, 6'2", 205. Didn't play on a great team, but this guy's really good. He's NFL ready. He's got hands. He knows how to run routes. He's got some good size, and he's got some speed. I'm impressed by this guy. Number nine, we have Tez Johnson from Oregon, 5'10", 155. Played in that Oregon offense. One of those fast, young, small wide receivers that you have to be able to block too with their running game and all that stuff and the quick screen game. Number 10, rounding out our top 10, is the other Iowa State wide receiver. That's Jalen Noel. He's 5'10", 195. He was a little quicker than Higgins. He was the quicker, smaller guy. But they both are very effective in college football. Last year's Iowa State was in the top 20. So let's see, where are we here? That was 10. Number 11, out of the University of Miami, we have Xavier Restrepo. Caught a lot of passes from Cam Ward last year. He's 5'10", 210, a lot of speed. I think from watching him, he understands how to get open, zone coverage, man coverage. He should be a good producer in the NFL. Number 12, we have Savion Williams out of TCU, 6'4", 220. Probably wasn't used up to his capabilities last year, but I think he can produce in the NFL. TCU's put out a lot of good wide receivers. Not as many as Ohio State as some other teams, but they've got 4 or 5 solid wide receivers in the NFL right now that have come out of the draft in the last 5-6 years. Number 13, we have Ty Felton out of Maryland. He's 6'1", 185. He wasn't used that much either, but he's got all the tools to make it in the NFL. Number 14, we have the first University of Colorado Buffalo receiver. There's 3 of them. that you could draft and probably put in your lineup right away and they could play for you. This would be the one that was most productive was Lahonte Wester. He's 5'10", 165, caught a lot of balls from Shedeur Sanders last year. Number 15, we have Nick Nash out of San Jose State. Not a lot of people saw this guy, but this guy was very good for San Jose State, 6'2", 205. He was probably one of the best receivers in the Mountain West, if not the best receiver in the Mountain West. And we have him at 15 on our draft list. Jack Beck, another one out of TCU. He's 6'1", 215. Doesn't have great speed, but he has great hands. He knows how to get open in zones, understands cutting off his routes when there's a blitz coming. Very smart receiver. Kind of a Mike Evans type. Not quite as big as Mike Evans. You're not gonna send him deep. He doesn't have the speed, but he's very smart, knows how to get open and how to run routes. Number 17, we moved this guy up a little bit because I went to school there for a couple years, and because they were ranked and I watched him play a lot. Maybe the second best receiver in the Mountain West, or maybe the first best receiver in the Mountain West. Ricky White of UNLV, 6'1", 185. Right behind him, another Mountain West guy, Nick Horton out of Colorado State, 6'2", 195. In our 19 spot, we have Kyron Lacey out of LSU, 6'2", 215. After Lacey, we have at number 20, we have Will Shepard, another Colorado receiver, son of related to a former NFL receiver, 6'2", 200. Had a really good year at Colorado. 21's kind of a dark horse, Dante Thornton out of Tennessee. Didn't make a lot of catches, but he's 6'5", 205. He has good hands. He understands offense. He can block. He has speed. This guy, we moved him up the draft board because we know what he can do. We've seen him practice. We've seen every Tennessee game. And this guy can make it in the NFL. Number 23, we have Rock Taylor out of Memphis, 6'2", 215. And the 24 slot, we have another big receiver, DeCorian Clark. DeCorian Clark. He's out of University of Texas, San Antonio, 6'3", 215. We have another Tennessee receiver, Brew McCoy, 6'2", 210. We think he can make it in the NFL. Another Colorado receiver, Jimmy Horn, another related to another former pro wide receiver. He's 5'8", 175. He's a small, fast receiver, but he has great hands and he understands the game. Then we have Kyle Williams out of Washington State, 5'11", 190. Did pretty well at Washington State, they had a decent quarterback, but not a great quarterback. And I think he can make it in the NFL. Ja'Cory Brooks out of Louisville, 6'2", 285. One of the best receivers out of Louisville for a while. Number 29, we have Isaac Slay out of Arkansas, 6'4", 215. Number 30, we have a receiver that everybody put in their top 10, saying this is one of the best receivers in the country. I watched video of him. I saw him play a couple games last year. I don't understand what people are seeing, why this guy should be rated one of the best receivers in the country. I don't get it. But anyway, Eric Ayomanor from Stanford. He's 6'2", 205. I could be wrong. Maybe someone drafts him as the 5th receiver in the draft and he becomes very productive in the NFL. I don't know the guy personally. I haven't read personal stuff about him, but I can't see where this guy is all that great. But anyway. And then we have Keandre Lambert-Smith out of Auburn, 6'1", 190. So that's our top receivers for the NFL 2025 draft. It's going to happen in Green Bay, Wisconsin, April 24th to 26th. I don't need the glasses anymore. Like we said, there's like 70 wide receivers in the draft, and we just gave you 30. There's probably 20 in the draft that really didn't play much for their team, 20 to 25. So that leaves the other 50, they're about 45 in there that did have some playing time. So there's probably 10 more on here, but I really doubt that more than 30 wide receivers are going to be drafted. Even a team that needs wide receivers are not going to draft more than 2. And some teams will draft maybe 1 or maybe none. So it's probably all the receivers that you're going to see even come up on the screen in the draft. So there they are. We'll be back with tight ends and running backs, or we already did running backs. We'll be back with tight ends. May do some linebackers or corners, something like that. And we're thinking about doing a couple mock drafts too. One mock draft of how I would pick if I was the general manager of that team, and then how we think they will pick, how we think the actual general manager and the group that picks the draft picks will pick. So I'm thinking I may do that because that sounds interesting. So this is Crow for SportsCrapology.com. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with some more NFL draft lists, our tight ends, and maybe some linebackers and defensive backs. And support one of the greatest guitarists of our time, Joe Bonamassa.